Welcome to Secret Dealers, the show where you can turn your treasured possessions into serious money.
Here we go, guys.
I'm about to let 3 ruthless antique dealers into 2 houses they've never seen before.
Wow, look at this.
With their own cash, they have to place secret bids to try and secure the best items.
Ooh, it's a lot of money.
But dealing's a cutthroat business, and coming up on today's show, feelings run high.
You set me up.
I never did.
A pair of porcelain figures create a stir.
I don't know about that, but I love you to pieces.
And our homeowners walk away with armfuls of cash.
I don't think I've ever seen so much money all at
in one go.
That's amazing.
This detached bungalow in South Yorkshire is home to Janet and Steve. There's plenty of room in here, but it is mostly filled with antiques that have been inherited from Janet's aunt, who passed away a year ago. They have 2 grown-up daughters who have left home, and now Janet and Steve are keen to put their own stamp on their house.
I think it's perhaps time to move on and not feel as if we're living in a museum or our auntie's home anymore.
However, Janet is sentimentally attached to a few of the items, such as this gold charm bracelet.
These are quite special to me. They belong to my nan and to my auntie. I've got lots of lovely memories of these from when I was a little girl. They used to wear them all the time when they were going out and they were all dressed up, and they used to come in. I could hear them jingle jangling with the bracelets on. So very happy memories, but I think it's time to let go and let them go on to someone else.
But not everything came from Janet's aunt. These 1930s racing car teapots made by Sadler & Sons belong to Steve.
The green one I found underneath my mum and dad's sink when I was 15. And what I also did is purchase the green one and the yellow one. And I really love these 3 teapots.
Now, your bungalow, Janet and Steve, is actually pretty big when you step inside, isn't it?
It is rather large. In fact, people have commented before, it's a little bit like Doctor Who's TARDIS. It's much bigger than you think, and it holds lots of surprises, I think we can say.
Well, those 3 dealers are going to be here any minute, so it's time to say bye, I'm afraid.
OK, time to go then.
While Janet and Steve pop out for a coffee, it's time to bring in the dealers, David, Brenda and Tim. Now, I've got essentially a bungalow for you, and funny enough for a bungalow, there is a room upstairs you're not going to want to miss.
Right.
OK, we'll see you later.
Here we go, guys. Oh.
The first to make it into the bedroom and discover Janet's hoard of gold is Bradford boy Tim.
9-carat chain.
And he's found a gold sovereign on a chain.
Which is 22 carat. 1912, King George V. So that's a good item because the sovereign is 22 carat gold, and you've got 8 grams in a full sovereign, 4 grams in a half sovereign. So bob this on here. 27.8 grams. Oh, this is a good bid.
Now, Brenda is one of those dealers who will have a go at almost anything if it takes her fancy, and she's found some Second World War medals. Janet doesn't know who these belong to, and so might be willing to sell.
Oh, me. Well, I'm going to leave a bid. It's not my usual thing. I bet there seems a full set there. OK.
So far, shrewd dealer David has a bid on anything, but he likes old sports cars.
Yeah, some racing cars here. These are nice.
And has found Steve's cherished teapots.
I like these. These are by Sadler usually. Made in England, 1920, 1930, and they came in various colours. But the nice, interesting things, these racing cars and teapots of all shapes and sizes are very collectible. So I'm going to put a bid down here for the 3.
I wonder if that's enough to test Steve's love for those teapots. Now, I found a bit of Janet's inheritance that all the dealers may like. Now, I think this is one of the nicest pots in the house. It's by the Poole Pottery factory and dates from about the 1950s. Now, this one has Persian influences. The floral design is very similar to that you see on Persian pottery, and in fact the pattern is called Persian running deer. Now, given its size, you'd think the dealers would spot it, wouldn't you? Let's find out. Tim is still in the bedroom and has found the gold charm bracelet Janet would like to sell.
And we've got a half sovereign there with Queen Victoria, 1896. So let's put this on there. So 94.6 grams, 4 grams of which is a half sovereign, 22 carat gold. So, ooh, it's a lot of money. Right.
In the dining room, Brenda is searching through a whole pile of silver plate that Janet and Steve would love to sell.
Put that on there.
This is where it all is. Can I join you in here?
You can certainly join me. I'm just about finished, actually,
Well,
David.
I can see this table's full of silver plate, or appears to be. This used to be a great market again for the export trade, but it's gone a bit like that, unless it's absolutely mint and...
Oh, well, just
Brenda, what's happened here?
on that note, I will leave you, dear. Don't you blame me.
Oh, dear.
Oh, my goodness. I'm out of here.
Cool, what a racket. Tim, meanwhile, is still enjoying a bit of peace and quiet. But not for long, I think.
Boo. Oh.
Brenda!
It's not your turn now. Out.
The pressure is on.
Just time for Tim to get a bid on a couple of gold watches. Then it's Brenda's turn at Janet's jewellery.
We have the charm bracelet. He's left his scales. Let me try them. I should have got my calculator with me.
That's another bid on the charm bracelet that holds lots of childhood memories for Janet. Now, you remember that Poole vase I told you about earlier? It's been spotted by Tim.
I like that vase.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Have you got any money left after all that gold?
I might have, you know.
The other two haven't spotted it yet.
What they like, you see, they just walk straight past it.
Well, that might help Janet and Steve clear a bit of space. In the living room, David Hackney is going through a collection of 60s dinky toys that belonged to Steve as a boy.
I'm not an expert on these, so I'll have a little gamble on this lot here.
There are lots of collectors for dinky toys, but they like them in mint condition with their boxes. Something that is in perfect condition is that Poole vase, which Tim has already bid on.
The pattern is very collectible. Lovely colourways, these purples and greens. I mean, quite contemporary.
Aye up. Is David spying on Brenda?
You devil.
Do you want me to put your bid on, sweetheart?
She's just too nice to him.
Right, let's get in the salon privé.
The what? Anyway, that's bids from all three dealers on the Poole vase, and Tim might make it 2 on the medals.
These are standard medals which everyone would have got for being part of the 1939-1945 war. And really, it's a shame that they're not worth as much as they should be, because there are millions of them.
Well, as Janet doesn't know whose they were, she might just be glad for whatever she can get. Next to the medals is a gruesomely named death plaque, and this was sent to the families of soldiers who died fighting in the First World War.
And the particularly good ones are if they're women. So if you ever see a lady's name on one of these, you know, you're talking good money.
This plaque does, however, come with its presentation scroll.
Yeah, so there we go. That's quite interesting, is that? Because here we have, let those who come after see to it that his name has not been forgotten. Private William Howard. It's quite sad, really. I always feel a bit emotional, really, when I do these. I'm going to do something here. Never done before on Secret Dealers. And I hope they don't mind.
What are you up to now, Tim? And that's nearly it for the dealers. There's just time for David Hackney to make it a trio of bids on Janet's charm bracelet.
Charm bracelet, this one, 94 grams. Oh, gee whiz. This is a very valuable item, this. I've got to beat Brenda on this one. There we are.
Time's up.
Time already, Kate?
Never enough time, is there?
Out you go.
In total, the dealers have bid on 26 items. But what do they most want to go home with?
Well, I would like to take the charm bracelet home. It had some nice charms on it, some that were a bit saleable, some that wanted scrapping, terrible word.
Out of all the things I've seen today, I think the Poole vase would be the thing I'd like to take home. Very nice.
Good lump of Poole. I would have liked it to have been 50 years older, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. So yeah, the Poole Vase I'd like to take home today.
Well, we'll see if the dealers get their wishes or not. Time to get Janet and Steve back in and reveal the total amount they could walk away with today.
There's been a lot of men in your bedroom.
Has
Janet.
there?
Has there really?
Oh, yes. And they stayed there a long time.
Oh, well, that's a novelty.
In this envelope is what you could take home today.
Wow. 3,605. Excellent.
Absolutely.
Well, let's go and see exactly how much you're prepared to sell.
Okay.
First up, Janet and Steve have no sentimental attachment to the World War II medals and First World War death plaque that Tim left a mysterious bid on.
I don't know who they actually belong to. I think it's a great uncle who I'd never met that married into the family. So they don't have an awful lot of meaning to me.
Well, let's talk about the medals first, because these are from the Second World War, aren't they? Fairly standard issue.
I didn't realise they were Second World War medals. I thought they belonged with the plaque and were from the First World War. Now I know that, I think the medals may have belonged to my uncle.
So, do you think you might be a little bit more attached to these medals then?
I think I might be more attached to the medals now. I've realised the significance of there being Second World War.
Right, that's interesting, isn't it? And we've got 2 bids on them, Janet.
Right.
Medals, even though these are standard issue, are still very collectible. Brenda has bid you £40.
I don't think so. Well, not now. I think they belong to my uncle.
The independent valuation on these medals is between £50 and £80. Tim says £70.
I think that's quite a generous offer.
Yeah, I agree.
But knowing what I know now, I'm not sure I'd be prepared to part with them because it is something that I could pass down to my daughters.
That's right.
And it would have some significance
That's
to
right.
them because they were very fond of their uncle.
Well, no sale on the medals, but Tim has also bid you on this death plaque. Now, this, of course, is from the First World War, and it is named. We've got the name William Howard here. Now, the independent valuation on this death plaque is between £40 to £60.
Right.
Tim has left you a bid. Tim says £40, but he also says he will give £40 as a donation to the British Legion, because Tim actually found this quite moving,
Right.
Did he?
looking at this sort of thing.
I think that's lovely.
I
Really
think that's
lovely.
a very, very nice gesture.
I think
Tim's.
so. And I think we'd be prepared
Yes.
to sell with that, particularly with the donation
Absolutely.
as well.
So we've got a sale, and you've got £40, and we've got £40 going to a very deserving cause.
Yes.
Excellent.
Good.
£40 for the plaque and £40 to the Royal British Legion, because it sort of pulled a bit of a heartstring with me. So, bit of a softie, really.
Well, Janet didn't know who William Howard was, but I'm so glad she got to find out who the medals belong to and will now keep them in the family. Next, it's that mounted full sovereign on a gold chain. Janet and Steve turned down bids of £300 from Brenda and £365 from David. But what will they make of Tim's offer?
Tim, he says £385.
I think that's a fair price. I'd be prepared to sell it for that.
Fantastic. That's a sale.
Excellent.
Very good.
Next, it's the Poole Vase. And again, it's an item that all 3 dealers want.
And I have to say, it's one of my favourite pieces, and I love this vase.
I thought you said all this inherited stuff you wanted to get rid of.
Not all, well, most of it, but I think that's probably one of the nicest things.
I love this piece. Love it.
You love it too.
Oh, absolutely.
So, all 3 dealers spotted this. David says £40.
No. No, there's no way I would let that go for £40.
Tim says 130.
Well, that's much better, but it's still... I wouldn't let it go for that amount because I think it's too beautiful to let it go.
The independent valuation on this, if it was to go to auction, is between 150 and £200.
All right.
Brenda says 135.
No, sorry, Brenda, it's still not going. I don't need the money that much that I would let something so lovely slip out of my hands.
No sale then?
Not on this occasion.
No.
I really thought I was going to get that. I gave a very good bid.
We were very close, me and Brenda. I don't know what David was thinking about £40.
I'm never quite sure which pattern is the best one with Poole. It's a bit of a fickle market, that Poole pottery.
Well, I think Janet and Steve have got a real eye for quality. They also weren't willing to sell the silver salt Brenda found in the dining room. And Steve wouldn't part with his dinky toys that David bid on. But what about those 3 Sadler racing car teapots?
David says £100
Yes?
for all 3.
That's very nice of him. But I'm not interested.
It's a good bid, Steve. Independent valuation for all 3 is between £100 and £150.
Right. No, it's a good bid, but I'd like to hang on to them.
No sale.
No, sir.
No sale.
It seems, despite wanting a good clear-out, both Steve and Janet are still very much attached to some of their items. So what will they make of the 3 bids on the charm bracelet? And will any of the bids be enough to tempt them to sell?
Well, let's see if we can move this charm bracelet on for you, because we have got 3 bids sitting there. Brenda says £600.
I think that's a little bit low for the weight, because even if it was scrapped, I think it would be worth quite a lot more than that.
I think that's a bit low.
Not just me, though.
David says £940.
It's getting
Yes,
better.
it is.
It's a little bit more
Very
like it, I
interesting
think.
offer.
The independent valuation on this charm bracelet is between £900 and £1,200.
Right.
Tim says £980.
Oh, that's
Wow.
more like it,
Yes.
I think. I think that is a fair price.
Just before you confirm that, Janet, there's not much between David and Tim. There's only £40, in fact. And I know that both of them are really keen to walk away with this.
All right.
Oh, do you think we could have a bidding war?
Well, I think we need to call all 3 dealers in
Right.
Okay.
and ask them perhaps if they'd consider giving you a teeny bit more.
I think that would be a good idea.
Come on in, you 3. Now, Janet and Steve meet Brenda, David and Tim.
Hello?
Hiya.
We're talking about this lovely charm bracelet down here. And £980 is on the table from Tim. Now, one of you I can only think had slightly dodgy scales because you were so mean, Brenda.
But I used his scales.
Use my scales.
I did, because you left him on the side.
They weren't mine.
You set me up.
I never
You
did.
did,
Brenda.
You did.
The independent valuation is between £900 and £1,200. And remember, that's based on the weight of this, which is 94.5 grams. That is a lot of gold,
You did
Brenda.
set me up.
I
set me
never
up.
did.
So you have the opportunity to give us another bid because Steve and Janet are giving me a very hard stare.
It means a lot to me, that bracelet, so it's got to be the right price. to let it go.
£980 means a lot to me, love.
Shall we have a go then?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, 3 new bids, Janet and Steve.
Right.
Right, okay.
David Hakeney has bid you £980.
Okay.
Okay.
So he has equalled Tim's first bid.
Right.
So we still have £980 on the table. Brenda says 1,000.
Wow.
Galloping up on the outside. Yeah.
Tim says 1,002.
I think as Tim has been prepared just to go over the edge and his bid was very generous in the first place, I think I'm going to have to let Tim have
I
it on
agree.
this
Thank you very
occasion.
much.
Yes.
We have a sale
Great.
by £2.
£1,002 was heavy duty for that bracelet.
I was near, but not near enough. So Tim's won the day again.
And Tim was unbeatable on the rest of Janet's gold, buying 4 9-carat gold ladies' wristwatches and an assortment of bracelets and necklaces. But David did pick up a 1920s Everett gold watch that Tim missed. In total, the dealers offered Janet and Steve over £3,500 in cash. But how much have they ended up selling?
You said to me at the start, you've inherited a lot of these things and they're not really your taste. But actually there was one thing you were really keen on and wanted to hold on to, wasn't there, Janet?
Yes, there was, particularly my vase. Couldn't let that go.
But you have still made today £3,027.
I don't think I've ever seen so much money all
in one go.
That is amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, it's been lovely knowing you, love.
Next, we're off to Leicestershire. This stunning and well-maintained 17th century cottage boasts a beautiful interior filled with equally beautiful objects. Barbara lives here with her husband Richard. It's no surprise that Barbara is an interior designer. With an eye for beautiful things, she has spent years carefully buying from antique centres, as well as keeping some inherited items. But she now feels it could be time for a change and wants to sell some of those beautiful objects, such as this 19th century French mantel clock.
It went with my scheme of black and gold and reds and yellows, and it's in fine working order and I like it very much, but I am willing to sell it.
But of course some items are not going to be as easy to part with. One of Barbara's favourites is this pair of early 20th century Royal Dux figures.
I just adore them. They are beautiful pieces, but I don't know if I'd be willing to sell them. I think the price would have to be good.
We could have a tough battle on our hands later. Those dealers are going to love this, and I'm sure we'll see some strong bids.
Why do you want to sell some of it now?
Oh, well, you know, a bit of decluttering as we get a bit older and we want to move on. And Richard, my husband, and I, we'd like to do an extension to the house and go a little bit more modern.
So change your look a little bit?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Well, those dealers are going to be here any minute, Barbara, so it's time to say goodbye, I'm afraid, and we'll see you later on.
And our dealers are David, Alison and Henry.
I have a large 17th century house for you. And this homeowner is an interior designer, so everything looks beautifully laid out and very well furnished. The question is, are you going to find any real antiques that you're going to want to buy?
We're going to find out. Let's do that.
Wow. Was this lovely?
They're rather glam, aren't they?
They're Royal Ducks, aren't they?
As soon as Alison walks through the door, those Royal Dux figures stop her right in her tracks.
They need to be absolutely perfect and no restoration, and they need to have that nice pink lozenge mark. Should we pick one up bravely?
Yep, got it. With that.
Yeah.
The pink triangle on the base is an original factory mark and a good sign that the Royal Dux is the real McCoy.
I shall leave you to enjoy those.
Well, I'm going to have a good look at them. But they're quite big ones, and they seem to be in good condition. They're Czechoslovakian. These were made probably about the turn of the century, 1900, that sort of date. Let's see what else there is.
Oh, I'm surprised David didn't make a bid for those. On the landing upstairs, furniture expert Henry is inspecting a large mahogany linen press, which looks like it should date from the early 19th century.
I'm not convinced it's as old as it's purporting to be. This is a later copy. These drawer linings go from side to side. If it was a period piece, they would go from front to back. I think it's 19th century, but I don't think it's a period one. But it's definitely a showy piece.
It deserves a showy bid then. Talking of showy, business-minded Alison has found a set of Royal Doulton ladies in the spare bedroom.
They're all modern. I mean, people used to buy them. They used to go absolutely mad for them. But I'm here to be commercial, and if I get them for the price that I've put down there, I'll make a small profit.
They may not be your classic antique, but I think they've got a lot of charm. It seems all the best stuff is on display in a rather showy Edwardian glass cabinet downstairs.
Look at that. Isn't that a beautiful cabinet?
Inside it are two small 19th century German porcelain figures.
Oh, we've got a pair of figures here. You look there, you can just see the little blue mark running down there, which is like a blue line. And that's the mark telling me that they're the Berlin factory. And they date about 1880. And they seem to be perfect. But they're just delightful little figures, aren't they? And she seems to be okay too. I'll certainly make an offer for those.
A lovely pair that have got to be worth a couple of £100 at least.
Okay.
David also puts down bids on a Minton vase and the cabinet itself, but there's a tiny object inside he's missed. It's made of silver and it's enamelled, but this little case holds a secret because inside is something even better. It's a folding telescopic cheroot holder, which an Edwardian lady would take with her on an evening out and have a little smoke. Not really the fashion now, but this is still a highly collectible display cabinet piece. It's just the sort of thing Henry would adore if he can find it. So far, he's been very busy and bidding on a real mix of stuff. And now he's taking a look at the Royal Ducks figures Barbara adores, but might sell for a good price.
Condition with these is everything. And I can see straight away that the boy here, or the goat herder, has lost his staff, and also the goat has had an ear broken off. Not as popular as they used to be, but still worth a bid.
At least the damage hasn't put Henry off. In the sitting room, Alison is puzzling over that exquisite cheroot holder.
What have you found? Look at this! I don't know. Do you know what it is?
I do know what it is. If we hold it this way,
Yeah.
unfolds, and it is a cheroot holder.
Of course. You see?
Isn't that neat?
Miss Bliss knew.
Worth a good bid, I would say, Alison.
Would you?
I wonder if Barbara will want to sell it. One thing she does want to part with is the 19th century French clock she bought in her black and gold phase.
It's just quite an attractive clock. Black lacquer and ormolu, gilded bronze. I think it's attractive. I expect they'll all want to have a go at this, so I better make a sensible bid.
Good idea, as the rivalry for the best of Barbara's belongings is hotting up. And in the display case, Henry has found the Berlin figures David also really liked.
They're nicely painted, they're beautifully modelled, and they're just very quaint. What have we got here?
Brilliant! He spotted the cheroot holder too. I wonder if he knows what it is.
What we have here is a cheroot holder.
Well done, Henry.
And there's the holder. I love these. I think they're really sweet, and something like this is actually quite rare. So I think that definitely is going to warrant a serious bid.
Cool. I think he likes it more than I do. Now, from the very small to the very large.
The Royal Ducks.
With time running out, David is back to look at the two figures Henry has already bid on.
They're nice, aren't they?
Yeah.
Even though you have so many.
Well, I have.
I've heard you do like big ones.
I have to say, Alison,
Look at me go.
I don't know about that, but I love you to pieces. I don't know about these figures, but nevertheless, they are big, aren't they? You know.
I'm listening intently.
All the dealers have now bid on the ducks, but will any of them have offered enough to tempt Barbara to sell? And there may be just enough time for Henry to get in a bid on the French mantel clock.
It's more decorative than it is a good, valuable timepiece. But I like the over-the-top gilt decoration.
Time's up!
Oh, doesn't time travel fast when you're having fun?
Come on, Henry.
You're still bidding.
Still trying to bid.
Come on.
The dealers have made their choices and placed their bids. But what are they most hoping to walk away with today?
I like the Berlin figures. They were very nice. The mark was quite indistinct, but it was there.
The thing I liked most today was the little silver and enamelled cheroot holder. Just a beautiful, delicate piece of work, and that's the piece I'd really like to buy.
My favourite thing is the cheroot holder, but there's a caveat. The most commercial thing would be the Royal Ducks figures.
Time to get Barbara back and reveal just how much cash she could make today.
Do you think it's going to be quite tricky to part with some of these things?
Yes, and I really have been in two minds how I'm going to feel about saying yes to an antique dealer.
Well, this is the maximum amount of money you could make today.
Thank you. Wow. £4,686. That is good. Very good.
Do you think they went for the figurines?
Yes.
Well, it's time to go and find out, Barbara.
Okay.
And first up, it's the pair of mid-19th century Berlin figures. Tell me about these.
I bought these from a lovely lady in the village who was very keen on her antiques, and as soon as I saw them, I really fell in love with them.
They are done by a leading European porcelain factory, which is the Berlin Porcelain Factory.
Right.
And they're done in a very 18th century style, if you like, but these are actually 19th century in date.
Okay.
So, we have two bids. Henry has bid you 95.
Bit low?
You're looking thoughtful.
Yes.
Bit low?
Bit low.
The independent valuation for these is more between £200 and £300.
Right. Yes.
Bit me.
Bit me.
David has bid you £300.
I think that's much better. And I would like to accept his offer.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
You've put a smile on your face,
Yes.
Barbara.
Yes.
They're a very nice pair of figures, which I'm very pleased to own. Good.
Not really the type of thing that appeals to me, so I'm glad that David's bid was a very strong one and he's walked away with them and I haven't.
A great start for Barbara. Next up, it's that tiny early 20th century cheroot holder that Henry was particularly taken with. Now, Barbara, tell me about this teeny tiny item here with the secret inside.
I saw this and I love enamelling. And, of course, you can imagine my surprise when I opened the lid.
So can you bear to part with it, Barbara?
For the right price, I can.
For the right price, she says. Let's have a look. Alison says £40.
Right.
How do you feel about that?
A little bit lower than I anticipated, yes.
The independent valuation on a piece like this is between £100 and £150.
Yes.
That's pretty mean,
Yes.
I would say.
Yes, I think so too.
Now, Henry really liked this. Henry says £120.
Much more in my zone of thought on how much it would be worth.
Is it enough to tempt you to sell, Barbara?
Yes, it is.
We have a sale.
We do.
That's me told, isn't it?
I do have a customer that I'm pretty sure will buy it from me, so over the moon, thrilled.
After two great sales, Barbara is on a roll, and she also parts with two Royal Crown Derby paperweights from the 1990s, a 1940s vintage Kodak camera, and the modern Royal Doulton ladies Alison thought out of place in her house. Next, it's that 19th century French mantel clock. Barbara is keen to sell, but have the dealers offered enough? 19th century in date, and typically 18th century French style, actually, what you've alighted on here, and two dealers like it.
Gosh.
Henry
Interesting.
has bid you £90.
Not that exciting.
It's not the most commercial example of clocks, but at auction, an estimate would be between £200 and £300.
That would be, I think, much better.
Let's see what David thinks.
Yes, please.
David says £180.
Gosh, that's still a little bit low, isn't it?
He's doubled Henry's bid.
Yes. If they'd gone 225, something like that, I think I would have been very tempted.
So I'm going to say to you, I'm going to bring those two dealers back in. Because I think they've been slightly mean, Barbara, and perhaps they might give you another bid that might just tempt you to sell.
That'll be exciting.
Come on in, boys. Barbara, meet Henry and David.
Hi, Barbara. Hi, Barbara. Hello.
Now, we're talking about this clock. We have £180 on the table. In fact, Henry, David has doubled your bid. But it's not enough for Barbara. So if either of you want to buy this, we need another bid.
Well, if I was going to make another bid on it, I think I'd be looking at going up a little bit more, but not enough to swing the balance.
I mean, I'll raise a very small amount, but it will be a small amount.
Yes, just over the...
No.
Round it up to
No, it won't
next.
get rounded up. I like to keep it under that.
Okay.
Thank you. We have a new bid from David, Barbara.
Yes, let's have a look.
Let's see how brave...
Not life-changing.
No.
David says £190.
I'm still not happy. Thank you very much, but I think I'll keep it.
We have no sale.
What a
Thank
shame.
you.
That's a shame.
But no thanks, chaps. So it stays, Barbara.
Yes.
Are you relieved about that?
I'm very mixed about it, actually, because it was one of the things that I was hoping would go.
It's going to cost £50, £60 to put it into good retail condition, so I was happy to stick at £190 and end up not owning it. But a nice clock.
Well, David's bid wasn't quite enough to tempt Barbara to sell, and she dug her heels in on a few more items as well, turning down £550 from Henry for her late 19th century linen press, £300 from Alison for the Edwardian display cabinet, and £280 from Henry again for the Sheraton Revival inlaid satinwood table. Finally, it's those impressive Royal Dux figures that Barbara loves. She's keen to hang on to them, but with bids from all three dealers, it looks like they're equally keen to take them away. But will any of their bids be strong enough? Barbara, what can you tell me about these figures?
I've had these about 30 years. I don't know very much about them. I just know that they're by Royal Dux.
They've been with you so long, Barbara. How do you feel when you see three bids down there? We've got a full house.
I'm actually really excited about this one. Yes, I can't wait.
In the current market, the independent valuer has said these should fetch between £600 and £800. Let's see if the bids live up to that.
Yes, please.
Okay, let's see David first. David says £300 for the pair.
Oh, no. No. I don't think so.
Henry noticed a wee bit of damage. The ear of the goat has been knocked off and then restuck. He says £180.
Oh gosh, even lower. I'm really surprised at that.
Well, Barbara, all I can say is that these dealers have different clients. They have different markets. Somebody may be able to sell these on much more easily than another one. And I think the bids reflect that. Alison says 680.
That's very good. Yes, that is in the ballpark figure, and I'm very happy with that.
Are you now?
I'd like to accept that.
Fantastic.
Yes.
We have a sale.
We do.
I think Alison's bid of 680 was a lot of money.
And I shall be talking to her very shortly about the Dux figures I have in stock.
But I'm pleased with that. That's a good price, and I shall sell those because of the scale.
The dealers can't agree on this one. Will Alison be able to make a profit? We'll find out at the end of the show. Now it's time to reveal just how much cash Barbara has made today. You have made £1,302.
Oh, I say, that's rather nice. And very exciting to have it in my sticky mitts.
So is that going to go towards your new extension, or is it going to help fill it up?
More things to fill it up, definitely.
Today's homeowners have walked away with a total of over £4,000 from our secret dealers. I don't think I've ever seen so much money all in one go. But just how wisely did our dealers buy? Tim turned a small profit on the gold he bought, selling the full sovereign and chain for £420 and the weighty charm bracelet for £1,025. But he hasn't yet been able to sell the death plaque. Henry sold that gorgeous cheroot holder for £160 to the client he had in mind. But David still has the pair of burn-in figures he bought, and Alison hasn't found a buyer for the royal ducks yet, so the jury is still out on whether she paid too much.
Well, today has been all about figures. Barbara has got rid of all of hers, and our homeowners have pocketed some healthy sums of cash. I'll see you next time on Secret Dealers.